first thing when we want to render our videos, right, is we need to think which composition do we want to render, like which part of our video. As said, a composition works just as a folder, right, containing our content. So we can have multiple compositions in one After Effects project. So we need to think which composition do we want to export. In my case, I just have one. I guess you also just have one in your projects. Then, yeah, no?
I made an accident once. Did I just delete it?
No, you can leave it in the project. That doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's just important that you are in that composition. Like, let's say I just quickly say like, wrong one and right one, right? Like I have the wrong one,
Okay.
and I have the moving stars. And as said, I see at the bottom here in tabs, well, I'm in this composition right now, or I am in that composition.
Okay.
When we want to export, we need to make sure we are in the composition we want to export. That's the first thought we have to do. The second thought is like, which part of this video do I want to export? Because I can define if I want to export the video from the very beginning until here second number 7, or just a fraction of that time. For us, it makes no sense to export just like 5 seconds of nothing happening. That's totally normal, because normally when we animate, we make the composition a little bit longer, so we have some space at the end where we can like work with things, or maybe push some things there. I just want to export until, let's say, the 2 seconds of animation, and then 1 second more. So I go with my current time indicator, this is the friend we know here, which we can move when we click on the needle, or we can move it by holding down Command. Right arrow key is 1 frame forward, left 1 frame backward, and when we hold down Command Shift, it's like 10 frames backward with the left arrow key, 10 frames forward with the right arrow key. It has to be noted. So we go to a point where we want to say, here my video should end. And then we press N to define. We had that last time. With N, we define the end of our work area, right? So the part we actually play back in a loop when we press the spacebar. Because the work area also defines for us the part we will export from a video. So once we all defined our work area, I assume we had the beginning at second 0. If the beginning should be somewhere else, we can go there and press B to trim the work area to that point. Now I am in the right composition, and I have the part of the video selected with my work area that I want to export, right? So now we go to File, Export, and what I always recommend people, don't worry, you have then the recording, right, for the exporting thing, because you have no position animation right now, right? Yeah.
That's fine. No, that's fine. I don't know.
Okay, you're just like, yeah, I also pretend to do that. Well, so we go to File, Export, and yeah. And now there are multiple options. We could export with the Adobe Media Encoder, or with like the Maxon Cinema 4D exporter, or the Premiere Pro project, etc., etc. This is the way, like there are multiple ideas behind these things. And actually, what I always do is like I export the video once without a compression, like without a quality loss, in high quality, so I have that video. And then from that I compress it for all the purposes. So in 2 steps process, because awards often have like the recommendation, like I don't know, for DNAD I think it's like 80 megabytes maximum for the video. So you can export your video once from After Effects, which takes a while normally because it's a video. And then you can say, yeah, for DNAD I compress it like that, for future lines I compress it like that, etc., etc. But you always have this exported, finished video file which contains all the things. That's what we will do. There are other ways to do it. I'm not necessarily showing it to you, except you really, really want to know how other people very quickly export things super fast in 1 step. But there are a lot of traps in that. That's why we don't focus on that. What we do is we export and add to the render queue. Once we click that, we see here's also a tab called Render Queue. This is basically, here I can have a list which I can start to execute for After Effects, where After Effects will just start rendering all the videos I attach to the list. Which means when I say this composition right from here to here, export add to render queue, nothing is exported yet, it's just in that list. Now I could go to another composition and say there as well, from here to here, export to render queue. And tell After Effects in the end, well, now export all these videos in the list. When we attach something to the render queue, we see these options here. We see best settings, which sounds good, right? Like, why something else? We see lossless, which sounds like, oh my god, large file. And we see output 2. When we see this, we just click here on lossless, and we see our output module settings, where we see like a lot of options, and we're like, for most of them, okay, we know what resize and crop is, and audio output auto also sounds right, because it will detect if there's audio or not. Fair enough. But which format? And here are like so many formats in there. As long as you work on a Mac, it's pretty easy, because we just leave QuickTime, go to Format Options, and here we have video codec. Video codec is kind of like the techie algorithm stuff, how the video gets compressed, right? Like how it gets a smaller file. And there are tons of them. Normal, the standard that at least like all clients that I did videos for requested was ProRes 422. There are newer standards, but up to now I never used the ProRes 4444 for any client I did a video, because there will be a moment when it will change. Apple ProRes is a really good codec that has no quality loss in it. It will be still a large file, but we talk about a difference from the animation codec will be like 2 gigabytes, while the ProRes will be 200 megabytes. So we choose Apple ProRes 422, press OK. Normally don't change anything here. If we want to export a video with an alpha channel, which means with transparency in it, we could here say RGB alpha, or like RGB and alpha, which works just when we have the animation codec. Then we press OK. So we made actually now our settings, right? And then we go to output 2. To the 2 moving stars. Or for you, maybe it's written needs to be defined or still not defined yet. So just click on that blue thing, and you will get into the menu, right? Here you can select where you want to export the thing to. I normally export it in the project folder, where we saved all our footage and our project, and make here a folder which I call render. And then we can name it whatever we want. I call it the moving stars. And once we hit save, we did a lot of clicks and nothing still happened, because we just need to click here on render. You all got that? Mm-hmm. Who yes, who no? Why not?
No, because I was slow. I was trying to figure it out.
Wait, mine says something's missing.
From your footage is missing something?
Yeah.
Did you delete something
No.
that you put there on?
No.
Do you? Okay. Do we have Daniel in here? Yes. Amazing. Well, that's actually a good example, because if you have something missing, like I move some footage, right? As said in After Effects, everything is linked.
Yeah.
If I move some footage, he tells me, oh, the file could not be found. What is happening, right? And we see, instead of the footage, we see this beautiful thing. If you ever try to sell me a case video with these things, guys, I will know this is not what you wanted. Like, yeah, it's a style. Like, sure. If you see that, don't worry. Just look in your project where you find that symbol, right? I guess you have it also somewhere here. Do you see somewhere? Yeah? No?
I do have it.
Where is it written that something is
Like
missing?
when
Then?
I clicked render, it said like something's missing. And then I clicked OK and now it still has, I don't know, I think it's all there. It just said something's missing.
Okay, in case you see this, in case something is really missing, you can always right click here and you can like replace footage, file, and then you can look for the footage wherever it is. Like I know it was somewhere here and then I think it was in images. Here it should have been, it was not there, it's outside now, Daniel. Then I can click open and it will reload it. If you have like 20 files that you missed because you moved it somewhere else, After Effects just needs one reference path and it will find all the others. And now getting back to the render queue. We made all the settings, now we want to render. So let's all hit render. Yeah? No?
Yeah, it worked.
Then it will play through your video and you hear this beautiful sound.
Wait, what? Where? Oh, render.
I don't have the option to click it.
Yeah, you probably already rendered it. Because once you rendered it, it will turn like from blue lines to gray.
Oh, yeah.
And you cannot click because the job was already like hooked, like the to-do list.
That was
Loud.
Yeah.
Nice.
Once we did that, let's find our file. I have it somewhere here. Project folder, render. And we see 42 megabytes for a 3-second animation. Large. Still better than as if it's 1 gigabyte, but still large. We want to compress that because that should not be a large video.
Wait,
The bug is still
what?
there
Yeah,
though.
what happened to the fact?
The bug is just on this screen. It's the TV.
Oh,
Alright.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
I know. It's just this TV that cannot handle all these people and faces moving.
Can't touch this.
Yeah.
What happened?
That was my second.
I just quickly guide you through and then we'll look at all the problems, right?
Yeah.
Let's. Second part of exporting, because we have now a large uncompressed file, but it's beautiful for now compressing in all the formats we need. And we need the media encoder. So let's start the Adobe Media Encoder. Media Encoder. Do I still have this? Just 17? This is the app that takes the longest to load. So normally when it's about, yeah, let's export very quickly, first step is open the Media Encoder. How well that was the presenting effect. Now it was super fast.
What? This comes
With
with
the cloud.
money?
Media Encoder comes when you have the cloud subscription.
Yeah.
When you have the right USB sticks, or I don't know what. Yeah? Everyone has the Media Encoder open?
Yeah.
And it looks kind of like this.
Oh.
Very not convinced, yes?
Yeah, mine's open.
Almost.
Let's wait until everyone has it open.
No.
I should play this Jeopardy music. Dun, dun, dun. Well, just to explain you the interface of the Media Encoder. On the left side here, we have kind of like a finder window. We can navigate through this. Like, I want to go to my hard disk, to my desktop, etc., etc. Here we have our presets. In most cases, we don't need them because when we export a video, we want to have like our own settings, right? We want to define, I want it that large. I want it super compressed or not compressed. And normally we want it MP4 because that's the best format to send it, to upload it to YouTube, etc. So here we have something that's called queue. And here we want is something written to add items to this queue, click blah 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 source button, or just, is it still there? Or drag files here from media browser or desktop. So we can drag and drop, super intuitive. And the first thing we do is we drag from the Finder window our video here. Will take a while and then you will see this. Yeah, no, yeah. Do you all have H.264? Okay, soon there will be H.265 because Apple is pushing that standard. It's the next codec thing, and it really fucks up a lot of render machines because, for example, my computer cannot render that. And I get videos from the client like, yeah, do this, and like, no codec. Anyway, this is just a codec that compresses now. So now we lose quality, but we gain like a smaller video. To set that up properly, we want to click on H.264. And we see here a similar window than before, our export settings. Here we have a timeline with a current time indicator, so we can quickly also go through our video. Well, works. Here we could cut off little things by moving this little endpoints. So I could say I just want this part to be exported. I would not recommend just cutting off things in here, because it just is not the cleanest way. Cut it off in After Effects if you wanted to. But in case you have like super hurry and you just exported and took ages and then you have some things in there, cut it off here. Then we have here a format. We want H.264. Point. And we have our output name, which you can click on it and define where you want to save it, blah, blah, blah. Export video, export audio. If you uncheck that, I guess it's clear what it does. And a lot of tabs. What we want now, we want to be in the video tab and scroll down until we see bitrate settings. Like this. Bitrate settings. A little bit more and a little bit down. Exactly. Bitrate settings. Here we see target bitrate, maximum bitrate. This means basically that for 1 second we can define 1 second of the video is allowed to have a file size like that. Basically.
Mine doesn't have
Maximum.
Yeah.
Yeah, see.
You don't have maximum anymore?
Yeah, me neither.
You just have the target?
Target.
Yeah.
Amazing! They finally killed it. It made no sense. Made sense? But no one used it. Or no one, yeah, whatever. I will explain you both anyways. So we have, but you have the VBR one pass, right? Nice. So this is like VBR one pass means it's kind of like a compression for the bitrate. And one pass means it goes once through the video. If we click on that, we have, let's ignore CBR, VBR 2 pass, which means it goes twice through the video. If we go once through the video, it just optimizes the video basically. Would be enough for most of our compressions. If we say 2 pass, it just goes through the video once, analyzes where's optimization potential, and then really compresses it way better down.
But what does it optimize exactly?
It basically like JPEG, for example. You could get artifacts with compression, right?
Yeah.
Like you basically see, there are a lot of these colors, etc. And so I can make one color field kind of in the code, right?
Okay.
But so you would basically just reduce the file size, because if a video is uncompressed, right? There's written this pixel yellow, this pixel yellow, this pixel yellow, and if you compress things,
It's like a
then
range.
yeah, exactly. If you compress things, like one standard compression tool is basically you write in the code, okay, you write a code that says like so many pixels yellow now.
Yeah.
So it's way shorter, and so the file size gets lower. When you compress your videos, I would recommend go VBR 2 pass by standard. And then now we can define how small do we want it.
Oh, now we have.
Now we have
so
maximum.
there's the maximum.
You have it too?
Yeah.
You
I
see.
have the 2 pass.
Nice. So we have it both. Target bitrate means it should target to reduce every frame to that size. Megabits per second. Like, yeah, it's a number. We can deal with the number as like a reference. And maximum bitrate means if it cannot reduce it to that size without like feeling already that the video whatever breaks down, it will go to that size. Like a target and a safe area, basically, a buffer around it. So, and here at the bottom you see estimated file size, right? And now we can work, because if we reduce the target bitrate, I don't know, I reduce it now to whatever, you see the estimated file size gets way smaller. If we just want to upload a video for an award or so on, right? I mean, we all always want to have like the highest quality. So I would adjust these values to like whatever maximum, like if you have 80 megabytes as a maximum, go until the estimated file size is 79 megabytes. Clear. I normally use the standard, either I just leave it by 10 and 12, if I don't need it super small, or I go to 5 and 7 to reduce it a little bit further. I right now go to 5 and 7, and we will see if it makes a difference. Right now, let's just press.
Just a
Yeah.
question. Is there a way to visualize the quality loss inside this finder? Like, can we, if we change some values, can we notice some differences?
Not in that finder yet.
No. So
It's. I mean, like there was a plugin that showed you that. I think.
yeah.
I'm not sure. Probably, if there is a plugin that people like make money from, Adobe just steals it at a certain point,
Yeah.
so they will include it. But right now, I never got a good visualization because it's not representative.
Yeah.
And in a video like this, you will not really see it, honestly. Okay, so I press OK because I made my compression settings. So I want like, yeah, let's just make it 1 megabyte, right? And we press OK. Still nothing happened. But now we can press here the play button. Once we press that, we see like in After Effects, it goes through. By default, it takes the same folder that your MOF was in and puts the MP4 in. The MP4 has now file size, okay, it has 2 megabytes. We see it's not 100% like precise, this tool. But if I look at the quality here, and I look at the quality here, do we see much? I mean, we see the glitch, right?
Yeah.
But we don't see super clear difference, right? But the difference is like 45 megabytes. Like the one is 50 megabytes and the other one is 2 megabytes. So that's why we should do it like this. Could you all export your homework videos? Yeah? Nice. Did the stick already make the whole round? Then I would like you to just make the other round and give me your homework on the stick in just one folder. All the videos you did. Homework was doing a little video, trying out position animations, etc., etc. Do you have the
I saw the recording and I was watching this and I was like, I don't understand. I opened the program and I was like,
Yeah, don't worry. We will learn it now a bit more, and then you can do it.
okay,
Don't
I will
worry.
do it.
It was an easy, quick homework, so it's not.
I'll do it.
Was it, guys?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, it was.
Next
Yeah,
class
it was
I'll have
fun.
it. It was fun.
Yeah.
I did it,
Promise, yeah.
but all my images disappeared as you showed before, so I have
Yeah.
to refine them. Yeah. So I have these weird stripes.
Yeah, that happens. That's totally normal.
Why does that happen?
Because it's all links in After Effects. Like you have no images placed in After Effects.
Yeah.
Like it's only like in InDesign or in a smart object, basically. It's all just links.
Yeah.
So if I have an image in here, like this one, I can always look where is that image actually by revealing Finder, and you will see, well, it lays somewhere else. It's not embedded in the project. That when you
that's
move
fine,
that,
but
the
then-
link is broken. After Effects thinks like, yeah, well, there's the image. Wait, there is no image.
So you always have to have the image on your computer?
Yes,
Okay.
but
So it takes up a lot of memory, everything about After Effects.
it depends. Normally, what the workflow is when we do videos, right? We have like with videos, I think, at least for me, I'm not the best in timing. So like in managing my own time, I mean. So when I start a video, I'm normally like, okay, I have to do this. So you have one folder and you just throw things in like crazy, right? Like you throw in, I need that footage, I need that blah, blah. Then you do the video. Then you render out the video and then you're super happy. You have your video done. You survived. And then comes the crucial part, like how to archive that shit without deleting anything by accident. Because maybe sometimes we imported a picture that is not in our folder right now, right? So that's actually a really good question for showing you how to consolidate files, like to collect all your footage, export the After Effects project into one folder that you can then drag on your hard drive, and that's working. Because in that project then all the links will be into the footage that is in that folder. And I think we should... Was that a lot of information in a short time?
No, it was fine. Okay, but once you've rendered the video, it's already there. So if you delete things, things won't go missing in it, right?
No, but imagine you have an award-winning video.
Yeah.
and you say like, oh my god, it's so cool. Then you get amazing feedback from your CD saying that you should just change that one word, right? And then you go back to After Effects, you're like, yeah, I can change the word. Shit, all files missing. To change that one word, now you have to find all the other shit. So you actually always want to have one folder where you have like save your projects where you can make adjustments. Because trust me, in 8 quarter I was going nuts. Also a lot with my team partners who did sometimes videos were like, guys, what did you do? Where did you put the footage? And you spend more time looking than actually doing the work you should do. And trust me, you're so happy as an art director when you can optimize your time. Because there's always a banner job somewhere waiting for you. Like, yeah. Okay. Let's learn also how to collect our files, right? I just do it with the project from last class. You can do it with your homework to save that as a project. We need, first of all, to save the whole project. So we press Command S. Then we can go to File. It's called Dependencies.
That's
yeah, I know. It's like
yeah.
export and collect or something, like put all in a folder.
Or
I don't
like
package, yeah, something, but well, it's dependencies and it's collect files ... which means like, ah, well, that must be something else happening there. So let's all, with our project, when we saved it, go to dependencies, collect files, click that, and we see here our little window for collecting files. In here, very quick information. We want to reveal the folder when it's finished. Well, if you want, whatever. Don't click generate report only. That just generates a text document where it's like, in this video is like this footage, this footage, this footage, this footage. That's necessary when a client needs to know which Getty images to buy or something. So you can quickly export all these things. Here we have, by collect source files, different options. All is the safest one. All means everything that I ever dragged in that After Effects document and didn't delete out of it again, like of this project panel, will be copied now. If I go to for all comms, only footage that I put from here into a composition will be used. Like, remember, in this video we just used these 4 faces, right? But we exported way more. So if I go for comms only now, all faces that are not in that video now, like one of those 4, will be not in the saved folder. And then we have project only, which makes no sense to consolidate because then we can just save. It's the project file. So normally go all and then press collect. And then we go to... By the way, did you know when you press Command Shift D, you go to your desktop in your Finder?
Alright.
Little shortcut.
That's a good one.
I save it somewhere here, and you can call it however you want. Like, I call it now the Moving Stars folder. And I click save, and it does some things. And if I look now how that folder looks like, I have here first that text file. As said, it's about like when did you export, blah blah blah. All the images, not really important, but nice to have. After Effects project. A folder with footage, where we have footage and we have pics. And this represents the folder structure you have in here. If you have something in audio, there will be also the folder audio. If you have something in blah blah blah, it will be there. So on, so on. Now, the most important part about this thing, and then we make, I think, a short break, right? Is if you think, well, I consolidate all my files, and then you think like, ah shit, I forgot to make this one change, right? So you have the project still open, and you want to make that one change. Right now, you're not in the project that you just exported. There's a difference. Right now, you're in the project where you were before, right? Where you have all your messy links. So when you want to make a change now, you need to close that project, like this one, and open it from the folder, this one. Because that's another project, same content, other project. Make sense?
And we should, like, after we package this, Should we disregard our old one because it has all the links everywhere and then start
Yeah,
working
normally
from-
what I do is like you always try to stay organized, right? But you know if it's getting messy or it's getting face to face and you work until 4 a.m., you maybe don't drop that one image there. So normally when I package my video and everything works fine and I just have a look in footage and everything in there and I see, well, fine, I move that on my hard disk, delete the thing from my MacBook. Because it takes space and you don't need it because you don't need it twice. And just buy one of those massive hard drives or I don't know, like Google Drive or whatever, and save everything there. Just that you have it at the back, because in 8 quarter you will need it. Or when the client wants to rework things, you will need it. Or most important thing, when the client, like I work a lot for Deutsche Bahn, when they say like, yeah, well, we want to make this super new campaign, and you're like, which super new cool campaign? They're like, actually exactly the same that we did before, but another text, super cool. And you're like, I have the old project. Like, yeah, then this is really helpful. Cool. Let's make 10 minutes break. Yeah, and then let's start animating more. You all got the footage? Yeah. Did you set up your After Effects already? You installed and yeah. Do you have the KVC and the script? No. I will put it for you on the stick, and then we will set up your After Effects. Cool.
For me, the username and password doesn't work. I don't know why.
Maybe
Like-
because too many people are logged in for this one.
Or they
Yeah, I think.
Sometimes it's
Oh,
weird.
we need the key.
no.